Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. You're gotta blow a job interview as fast as you can, what do you do? So what exactly is the drug test able to detect? I took a drug test for a furniture store and I watched in real time as the undesired result for cannabis appeared, while I passed the other ones no problem. Hiring manager literally said close enough. And continued processing my paperwork. I'm a paralegal. Private law firms never drug test. Is it a 10 panel or just 5? 10 panel, those are rookie numbers. Try a 16 panel with a breathalyzer. Say that you think the company is dumb and you're only there because your mother made you. More effective the older you are. I read a comment once about how a GameStop employee was about to interview a teenager and the kid's mom accosted the interviewer first, telling him that she was making her kid get this job because he was so lazy and not hardworking and thought it would teach him some good skills. Totally ruined his chance at getting the job, lol. Thanks, mom. You wouldn't believe how common this is. I've had multiple moms show up at interviews I was conducting. Ask about the sexual harassment policy. Is it like super strict? Or set in stone? On a scale of pancake tits to bolt-ons, how firm are your sexual harassment policies? How close are we to a school zone, exactly? Tell the interviewer to not show up to work the next day. Be myself. That has a proven track record. No, they are asking about job interviews, not dating. It applies to both. Sit down, reach into my backpack and pop open a beer. I interviewed once for a marketing position at Skoal. There were plastic cup dispensers on every wall and cans of Skoal dispensers on every wall. 3 guys walked in the room in jeans and polo shirts and all put in a dip, offered me a can of Skoal, and started to interview me. It was absolutely weird. Hope they had a good health insurance plan. Scratch your ass, then go for the handshake. Don't forget to sniff your fingers before going for the handshake. And gag after sniffing. Show up drinking a beer and when the interviewer brings it up apologetically say, "Oh, sorry bud, how rude of me." And proceed to pull another warm beer out of my purse and toss it to them. I'd hire you. Manners matter. I read that as blowjob an interview, which inspires me to say offer a blowjob. It was rather suspiciously titled, wasn't it? Does op suck? Showing up to interview with a pet parrot on your shoulder does not blow the interview. My wife worked for a popular online shoe retailer that starts with AZ and interviewed a guy who showed up like this. She gave him the job, because, who wouldn't want to work with a dude that would show up to an interview with a bird on their shoulder? I went into a local store and the dude talking to me had a parakeet chilling on his shoulder. I didn't even recognize until he bent down to pick something up. Anyone who can borrow an animal is cool in my book. Recently Zoom interviewed a guy who straight up had a massive iguana lizard thing walk across his shoulders while interviewing. I mean, a ton of grace for the at-home virtual interviewing thing, but dude acted like we didn't just watch a dinosaur roam across the screen while talking about hospital patient flow. I was testifying by Zoom and the defense attorney who was questioning me, from home apparently, had a big-ass tabby cat walk across his keyboard mid-question. As he was picking it up, it looked at the camera and went meow. That meow made it into the fucking trial transcript. Just don't show up. Edit, this is how I would bomb a job interview because I'd be too anxious to do anything more drastic, lol. Yes, nowadays they'd probably reach out to reschedule or something. This is also the least effort, but if you're collecting unemployment it could be used against you, who knows? Right. I guess this is blowing an interview if you're already there, so the next closest thing is just leaving without a word. Walk in, shake their hand, sit down, get back up and leave. I'd say that would be a minute tops from walking in to walking out. Show up with my mom and have her answer all the questions for me. No joke, had a guy's wife join him in an interview. We politely asked why she was there and then asked her to leave. She said, if I leave, he goes too. I said, "Bookie. This interview is done. Thanks for coming in." I get wanting to be there to support him, but actually coming into the interview is a bit much. What was their plan? Was she going to come to his shifts too? I'd appear with my well-loved plushie and let it do the interview for me. Whenever the interviewer asks a question, ask the plushie what it thinks. Would you be willing to travel to client sites 3 days a week? What do you think, drive? Sagulpus. Oh sorry, no I don't think we could do that. Then you get into an argument. When I agreed to bring you we talked about this. You need to compromise on some things with me if we want that house. Just because I'm going to a client doesn't mean anything is happening. That was one time. I never bring up Rick these days anymore, do I? If you hire me, you hire Rainbow Dash too. She's my life partner and sexual muse, and you wouldn't dare come between us. Interviewer asks for a moment and leaves the room. You assume they're out there releasing the huge guffaw they were surely holding in. To laugh, explosively, at such an exclamation is the obvious response, after all. A few minutes pass. You can't hear any guffawing, you can't hear anything at all, something's off. Your hand tightens around Rainbow Dash in anxiety. The door opens and relief floods your body as the interviewer sheepishly smiles at you. Interviewer, sorry that took so long, Zadress was on another call. As they are head of hour I needed to check with them and they confirm we can extend full partner benefits to Rainbow Dash. In light of this I'd like to offer you the postio, Thursday _the 20th, and welcome you to our family. Bonus if you're very well qualified, it's a government job, and your plushie is articulate and completely answers all the questions. Then they have to write an hilarious memo for the reasons they don't think you're fit for the job. For a software job, I don't even think it would be a deal breaker. Maybe just not a customer-facing role. Say meow at the end of each sentence. Or twice at the beginning of each sentence, like Henrietta Pussycat from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Meow meow, time management is my greatest strength. This reminds me of an old joke. Interviewer, one last question. What would you say is your biggest flaw? Job seeker, well, I'm brutally honest. Interviewer, I see, well really, I think that's really not too much of a flaw. Job seeker, I don't give a fuck what you think. This reminds me of an old joke. Interviewer, one last question. What would you say is your biggest flaw? Job seeker, well, I've been told I'm condescending at times. Interviewer, I see, well really. Job seeker, that means I talk down to people, idiot. My version of this. Interviewer, what would you say is your biggest? Interviewee, cutting him off, I get impatient. Well, I need to get a job interview now just to do this one. This made me laugh the hardest in the thread so far. Start talking about how Hitler was just misunderstood. I'm mixed Jewish and Japanese, so I feel like this would be an interesting conversation. What is the shorthand? Jupiter. Removed. Which god though? Ask for the Wi-Fi pass as the first thing. I only like to torrent on public networks, keeps me safe. Edit, since no one has mentioned it and this thread is blowing up. Username checks out. And then pull out your phone and start browsing while they ask questions. If they bring it up or start asking questions, just say, hold on a second, keep going. Then say selfie, turn around and get the whole interview panel in. Insist that everyone does a peace sign and duck lips. Get real stern about it. Many years ago I went through a mass hiring session. 1,500 people showed up. There was a brief screening interview and then applicants would move on to the second interview based on that first interview. I was passed on to the second round and was sitting waiting my turn. Behind me was a curtain and on the other side was someone doing the first interviews. Interviewer asked a guy about his last job and why he left. He said, you gotta understand I sweat. I mean I sweat a lot. I was a waiter and I would bring a plate of food to someone and drip into their dinner. They didn't like that. Without hesitation the interviewer called out next. This is the guy who should actually answer. When asked what his weak point is, I am far too honest for my own good. That doesn't seem like a weakness. I don't give a fuck what you think. Nobody can convince me that wasn't Chris Farley. Did this years ago. I drank a Coke quickly to settle my stomach before a big interview for a dream job. Right as introductions are being made and I am shaking the CEO's hand, I don't say nice to meet you. I instead let out the loudest, nastiest belch ever formed by my digestive tract. Epic echo in the hallway, too. No way to recover, I just turned around silently and left. Never heard from them again. The image of someone just walking into an interview, belching, and then just walking out without a word has me laughing my ass off. Walks up. Shakes your hand. Belches loudly in your face. Refuses to elaborate. Leaves. It'd be really funny if I got this job. Totally not because I would commit arson or anything, but it'd be really funny. I think just saying it'd really be funny if I got this job is probably the best down-to-earth way to blow the interview. So perfectly understated. Why's that? They surely ask. I dunno man, just, funny. Dress up as the original Agent Smith. I get bonus points to start talking in his manner. I also refer to the interviewer as Mr. Anderson and be as condescending as possible. Interviewer, so why do you want to work for us? Agent Smith, condescendingly sighs Mr. Anderson. I want to get out of this place, the stench,